Oh, here we go. Welcome to New York. Good to see you here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
President Trump.
You got friends here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for showing your face. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Florida sucks.
Oh, how are you? Thank you, thank you.
I'm honored to be here with my colleagues from the House Freedom Caucus, where we watched Michael Cohen get dog walked through the series of lies he has told. There is literally no branch of government that Michael Cohen has not lied to. He lied to investigators. He lied to the judge who sentenced him. He lied to the United States Congress, and he committed these lies for his own benefit. And while we're talking about what we saw in that courtroom going on for people's own benefit, we would be remiss if we did not mention this corrupt judge, this judge whose own family is making six figures off of Democrat politics that continues to gaslight the country that there's some sort of crime committed by President Trump. This is a made-up crime. No other American in the country would be charged with this type of crime. It's like the Mr. Potato Head doll of crimes, where they had to stick together a bunch of things that did not belong together. Observing the jury, I could see that there was a great appreciation for the liar that Michael Cohen was, and we are not getting a fair shake in front of this judge. The prosecutors don't even have to state the basis for their objections. He's agreeing with the prosecutors without even hearing argument on these objections, and there should be evidence getting in about the depth and breadth of Michael Cohen's lies that we're not seeing entered into it. And so we're here voluntarily supporting our friend President Trump, the leader of our movement, the leader of our party, and soon again the leader of this great country. And I want to hand it over to the leader of the House Freedom Caucus, my friend Bob.
Thank you.
All right.
Gates, thank you for your leadership on this. We're seeing today what lengths the Democrat Party will go to try to rig or steal another election. They tried to do it in 2020. They're doing it again here in 24 by trying to keep the nominee off the ballot, by trying to keep the nominee from campaigning, by trying to ruin the nominee financially. And we're seeing that today. We saw the perjurer-in-chief, Michael Cohen, multiple times admit and acknowledge that he has lied under oath, he's perjured himself, and yet we're supposed to believe his testimony as the star witness against President Trump. This is lawfare, again, to try to steal or to rig an election. You got a corrupt prosecutor, you got a corrupt star witness, you got a corrupt judge whose daughter is one of the leading fundraisers for the Democrat Party, having raised some $100 million. That's the judge's daughter. This is a crooked sham trial to try to hurt the nominee who's going to be the president of the United States, whether or not they like it or whether or not they want that to happen. President Trump is going to be reelected. I'll turn it back to Matt Gaetz to manage his time.
Well put.
I now like to hand it off to the one of the past leaders of the House Freedom Caucus, my colleague on the House Judiciary Committee, Andy Biggs.
Thank you. If you want to know how you can try to impact an election, you can bring a candidate, the candidate for the Republicans, and try to tie him up in court over and over again. And if you really want to make it a sham, you bring a couple of people in who have no credibility, and you put them up as your star witnesses. And we saw it today firsthand. Mr. Cohen admitted repeatedly that he lied. He admitted repeatedly that he did so for his own personal interest. That tells you everything you know about the lack of credibility of this case. And then you add to that you have a judge. You have a judge whose daughter is making literally $100,000 at least because she's going around using this trial to raise money for Democrats. That is what's happening. That is what is happening. And so I think that it's pretty clear to us that this is a sham trial. It's being done for political purposes, and that just should not stand in the United States of America. Now I'm going to give it back to my friend, Mr. Gates.
Well put.
My colleague from the House Oversight Committee and from the state of Florida.
Thank you. I also want to point out that they are telling people that they can't have cameras in the courtroom, but if they had nothing to hide, and if they're truly being honest about this, why is it that you guys can't be in the courtroom and see exactly what we're seeing? Just because we're members of Congress does not mean we have authority more than you guys to know exactly what's happening in that courtroom. So just an update. The president is doing well. He's in good spirits. We're here today because we know that this is nonsense. It should not be happening in the United States of America. Furthermore, to Cohen, who admitted to lying to members of Congress, that's contempt of Congress, just so that you are tracking. And I want to follow it up by saying this. It is by no coincidence that you have Goldman, a member of House Oversight who's a Democrat, prepared Cohen for his testimony, is also retained by the judge's daughter as a client. Does that seem like it's not sham to you? It is corrupt lawfare. It's the Biden prosecutions, and Biden, you're gonna lose this election.
Amen.
Joined by my other colleague from Florida, Mr. Walsh.
All right.
I've served all over the world, in Africa, the Middle East, and in South America. And this is the type of country, those are the types of countries where they weaponize the judicial system against their political opponents. Maduro weaponized the judicial system in Venezuela against Guaido. Every prime minister of Pakistan knows if they lose to the other side, they're going to get put in jail. Is this what we want America to become? This is what we're becoming. And then from the great state of Florida, let's talk about the judges. The judges in Florida, in an effort to stay apolitical, won't even attend an event. They won't even take a photo with a member of Congress, so that the public believes they are objective. But yet we have a judge that's contributing. We have a judge whose daughter is making money. We have a judge whose family is enriching themselves on what's happening today. Any judge worth their salt would have recused themselves because they care about the people's perception of justice. This isn't justice. This is politics. It's political warfare. And we see it happening in third world countries all over the world. I never thought I'd see it happening in the United States of America. My colleague from the state of South Carolina, Ralph Norman.
You know, pure and simple, this is, as the sign says, political persecution. No man should have to go through what President Trump is sitting through. A judge is your own daughter who's making millions. It should not happen in America. The fact that this trial, look at the timing before the presidential primary, before the convention, having Donald Trump sit here, their whole purpose is to keep him off the campaign trail so that he can't do what he does best. You know what their intent is? This is their intent, to put him behind bars. And the American people are going to say no. They're not going to put an innocent man behind bars. I don't what kind of political theory do they want to keep going. This is a kangaroo court, pure and simple. Amen.
My colleague Lauren Boebert from Colorado.
The radical left wants President Trump to simply go away. And if President Trump just went away, this would all go away as well. They do not want him to be in this race. They know that he is the #1 candidate for president of the United States for the 2024 election, and they are doing everything that they can to interfere in yet another election. Well, I got news for the radical left and the weaponized DOJ. President Trump is not going anywhere. He's coming back for another 4 years. Correct. And we are not going anywhere either. We are here to stand with him as he stands up for you, the American people. He has laid everything on the line to defend our great nation. And I'm so grateful for him. Sitting in that court today, seeing the lack of credibility from Michael Cohen, who has lied in front of all branches of Congress, of government. This is an issue. Someone who is an admitted liar, who has committed tax fraud. Someone who has a podcast, who screams explicit against President Trump, saying that it would be better for him, that he can't wait for President Trump to be locked up behind bars. someone who wears a shirt with President Trump behind bars. He said today in court even that it would personally affect him, the outcome of this case. The outcome of this case personally affects Cohen. Everything that he has done personally affects him, and he wants President Trump to suffer. That is why he has done what he has done. That's why he has told the lies that he has. And we are here today to counter those as we stand for our friend, President Donald J. Trump. And I appreciate the millions of Americans who stand in defense of him while we have corrupt judges who he's not even allowed to speak of because of their corruptness. A corrupt judge whose daughter is making some $100 million, raising $100 million for campaigns against President Trump. This is a scam, it is a sham, it is a show, and we are here to expose every bit of it. Mr. President, we stand with you.
Thank you.
My colleague from the great state of Tennessee, Andy. You know, if I started a story with a convicted felon and a hooker walk into a bar, you would immediately know that it's a joke. That's what we have here, a joke of a trial. We have a convicted felon who has a vengeance against the president. We have a woman who is paid for sex with a vengeance against the president. This is not a prosecution, this is a persecution. We have a two-tier justice system in this country, and if a former president can be targeted by a woke and corrupt judge, then you can be targeted as well. Mr. President, we've got your back.
Thank you.
Also, from the state of Tennessee, my colleague, Congresswoman Harshbarger.
Thank you, Matt. You know, we're in New York City and we're watching the persecution of a patriot. You know, we're watching in real time the Biden administration's Department of Justice interfere in a case that should never have been brought in the first place. We have a judge who has a conflict of interest. We have a witness in Michael Cohen who admittedly from the stand admitted to lying under oath. Under oath. Look, if you ever wondered if there were two tiers of justice and if the American government was weaponized against its own citizens, you don't have to wonder anymore. You don't have to wonder. The American people are not stupid. There are patriots in this nation who want to know the truth, and we are here to support President Trump to do just that. And the last thing I will say is what a price to be a patriot President Trump has paid.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cloud from the state of Texas.
And why are we here is a good question to ask. We are here simply because Biden can't get the inflation numbers down. He can't get the crime numbers down. He can't get the numbers of illegal aliens, terrorists even crossing our borders down. So what's he going to do? He's going to do everything he can to take down his political opponent. How's he going to do that? Well, we all know that the Biden team knows that they're not going to be able to win this election by doing the Biden basement tour again. And so we saw just a couple days ago, Trump in New Jersey, 100,000 people showing up. This is the contrast that they do not want you to see. And while we have a court with a corrupt judge and a convicted felon as the star witness, placing a gag order on President Trump so that he can't be out here touching and winning the hearts of the minds of the American people, which he definitely has behind him. The American people definitely see through this. They're not buying it this time. And we're here to stand with President Trump and to let them know that are trying to silence him that we will not be silenced. We will not be intimidated. We are going to stand for this country to ensure that the rule of law is restored once again.
Amen.
Also joining us from the state of Arizona is my colleague Eli Crane.
Thank you guys for coming out today. I was only in that courtroom for about 2 hours, and I heard Michael Cohen admit at least 6 times that he lied. I mean, that's what this is about. That tells you everything you need to know, and this is the star witness, him and Stormy Daniels. The American people know what's going on. You guys know what's going on. You guys know why President Trump is here. Why is he here? Right there, political persecution. They can't beat him. They can't beat him, and everybody knows it. The polls are showing it right now. They couldn't beat him. They tried to take him out. with the Russian scandals. They tried to impeach him multiple times. And the American people also know that he could have retired down to Florida and lived the American dream. But he came back. Why? Because he sees what's happening in this country. And this is just one more example of it. And one more reason why we came up here, we volunteered our time, is because we represent good Americans that are tired of this crap too. Yeah, that's right. She is too. And I know there's many other people that are tired of it. And they want us to fight for this country. They want us to make America great again. And they
Thank
know
you.
President Trump, that's right.
Hell yeah.
They know that President Trump is the biggest obstacle in between them destroying this country and turning it into some totalitarian state, and that's what they want. Just like this judge up here. All right? We're not going to allow that to happen. I know President Trump isn't going to allow it to happen, and you are going to see come November, even people that hated President Trump's guts are seeing how rigged and how messed up this system is, and they know if it can happen to him, it can happen to them. Thank you guys for coming out, and I want to thank my colleagues for supporting the president.
Thank you for coming.
We're here of our own volition because there are things we can say that President Trump is unjustly not allowed to say. This is a corrupt judge. These are corrupted witnesses. This is a corrupt prosecution that belies any sense of the facts or the law. And so we're going to keep speaking out against this. We're going to keep fighting against this. And we will head back to Washington as House conservatives, saying that these undemocratic efforts must be stopped. They must be defunded. We must use our Article 1 powers to stand against election interference. And to close us out, the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus.
I want to again thank my colleagues in the House Freedom Caucus for having the president's back. We're here because we got to defend him, because the gag order that's put on him. Have you ever seen it before where a gag order, instead of trying to protect, to make sure that the accused gets a fair trial, this gag order is to ensure that he cannot defend himself fairly. So we're here to have his back, we're here to defend him, and to tell the truth about this travesty of justice, this political persecution, this election interference, this rigging of elections, this collusion between the Department of Injustice and these crooked courts in New York City, whether it's Michael Colangelo, who went from the DOJ to New York City, whether it's Fonnie Willis's boyfriend, who billed the taxpayers of Georgia for time up here in New York City, colluding with the Department of Justice. We are President Trump's boys. We have his back. He will ultimately be proven innocent. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I shake you? Thank you for coming. From a local New Yorker.
Oh, thanks, man.
You know, hey, listen, a lot of us are still here, you know?
Good.
You're welcome to come back anytime. God bless. Thank you. Joe Quinn, always come back here anytime. You know, a lot of people like us, we support you 100%. You know, on the right.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, anti-communist.
Everything's at stake. Everything's at stake.